Well, but you even go a little bit deeper. You say something about, clinically speaking, boundaries tell your nervous system and your...
Oh, yeah.
Tell that story.
So it tells your nervous system, I'm safe. I decided to get access to me or take care of me. So they replace reactive behavior like waiting, overthinking, obsessing with responsive, intentional choices.
Got you.
So it's almost like you're telling yourself something, or by setting boundaries, you're protecting that part of you. And, I love parts. There's all kind of parts of us. And yes, you're protecting that part.
So you know what you're saying, I haven't put in those terms, but you say about me, I have a lot of rules.
You do.
You just said it again. but what I'm going to start saying is, based on your counsel, is I have boundaries. Now, you tell me, is it the same thing? Or you wouldn't define my rules as boundaries? For instance, if I was dating online, one of my rules would be, I never thought about a boundary, would be, if you disappear, I don't chase you. Hey, Jim, but here, what had happened was...
I guess you could say rules or boundaries.
Yeah, so I think rules are boundaries. So while you've been critical of the number of rules I have, I just think I've had great, safe boundaries.
Okay. That's okay. That's good.
So I say on this podcast, I've learned how to better interact with you.
Okay.
So what else you got?
So do the emotional detox, the narrative rewrite in your mind, for instance. So after ghosting, breadcrumbing, your brain starts trying to make sense of the silence. So it often fills the gap of self-blame, like, I wasn't good enough.
We already covered that.
Right.
I told you what to do.
Right. So I'm just saying, you're rewriting this narrative now.
Okay.
And that's what.
Oh, so you're helping them get to the place I already took them.
Yeah.
Because I heard it long. Okay. Go ahead.
If I were more desirable, sometimes they'd be thinking that, they wouldn't have stayed. They would have stayed. So you're rewriting that narrative in your mind. You're detoxing from all of that negative stuff. So some people, this particular person that I was working with, they journal those and they look at them, and I tell them to journal that feeling, write it out. And then I want you to look at it tomorrow. And a lot of times they look at it and they think, what was I thinking? I must be out of my mind.
Okay.
So the journaling does help. It's writing it out, naming that emotion, expressing yourself, all of that. And then I tell them to rewrite it and show compassion to themselves.
Okay, let me restate what I heard you say.
Okay.
What you counsel a person to do is, you've been ghosted, you've been zombied, you've been breadcrumbed, you're in those kind of relationships. And you're saying you encourage a person to journal their feelings. Mm-hmm. Here's what I'm feeling. And what I hear you saying is, sometimes I can't believe I wasn't good enough. I can't believe I wasn't enough. I can't believe, how did I mess this up? Mm-hmm. And then you're saying, upon reflection, when they later go back and read that, even they go, what was I thinking to have written this?
Right. Well, no,
that's amazing to me.
Well, I'm just saying, sometimes we get in that emotional stuck place and we say negative things, and that's what we're trying to do.
About ourselves?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to rewrite the narrative.
Hey, this has been an interesting episode for me.
This is definitely an interesting episode for me as well. No,
but you deal with this every day.
I was going to say, not really.
I mean, I don't.
talking to you, and the way you're responding, sometimes I'm thinking, okay.
No. One of the reasons that I don't like for us to spend a lot of time prepping for episodes, right, or shows, is I like to respond. I know it's important that you prep because you're bringing actual, clinical help to people, whereas I'm just guy sitting here talking. You're like the play-by-play analysis,
okay,
or analyst. Mm-hmm. Do you know what that means? The play-by-play. Okay, so you're the person describing the technical, play-by-play. I'm more of the color commentator.
Okay.
So I add in stories, I add in fun. Now, granted, you and I are both certified Smalley marriage intensive coaches, but you are the clinician, and hopefully our audience is familiar with that in your role right now. And I love these roles. Mm-hmm. So, but back to my point. One of the reasons I don't like to interact a lot with you before we sit in front of the camera to talk is because it's fascinating. Because I like not knowing where we're going. Mm. Now, you like differences in you and I. You like having a real clear destination where we're going.
Absolutely.
I like starting here and then going to the right and then going to the left and go. I love that.